I eat that already? Man, I'm still hungry. These are some of the pieces of AAA quality amethyst that I imported from the Anahi Mine in Bolivia. They're all 22 to 30 grams each, which is 110 to 150 carats. None of them have any internal inclusions that I could find, and none of them have any zoning, which is often the case with amethyst, so no zoning is a good thing. Now I will need a design for a large piece of amethyst. I found this interesting gem cutting diagram in the large database of designs at the gemologyproject.com website. This design is by Marco Voltolini. I have cut a number of gem designs by Marco in the past, and they have all turned out very well. This design is called Arpa. I have no idea why Marco called this design Arpa or what Arpa means. If any of you know, please let us all know in the comments. One of the features of the designs on gemologyproject.com is that the website has a tab for discussion about the design. In this discussion tab, you can often find a lot of helpful information and sometimes tips on cutting the design. Here is the discussion tab for Arpa. This tab also often has photos of gemstones cut in the design. In this case, a photo of a test cut of the design in colorless topaz and a photo of the rendering, which I believe came from Gem Cut Studio, but I'm not sure. And that shows the performance of citrine quartz when cut with this design. Okay, so for our Arpa design, to put the stone into our index gear, our spindle, we set the index tooth at 96 as though we were going to cut at the 96 index, and we orient the stone and put it in kind of like this so that it's oriented vertically. And then we go ahead and set our set screw, and we're ready to start cutting our Arpa design. After I started preforming my amethyst with my 100 grit lap, I saw that I had quite a ways to go, so I took it to my trim saw and kind of trimmed it up a bit and instead of just grinding, and then I went back to my topper laps and worked through them with the 100 grit, and then finally the 320 grit topper. So I've gone over the facets once, and I still have a little bit to close up here in the front, so I'll make the stone a little bit smaller as I close that up, but I'll work with that with my 600 grit lap and finer lap. So now I'll move to the 600 grit. So I've just gone over the amethyst with my 600 grit steel lap from Crystallite, and so now I'll go over it with my 3M. Coming along nicely. It's got the right shape now. I'll just need to go over it a few more times, and then we'll be ready to polish it. Okay, I pre-polished the Arpa design with 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap, and so now I think I'll work the next step and I'll begin to polish this the pavilion of this stone. Okay, I've zoomed in on the number 4 instruction of the facet. That's this first one right here. And what I want to show you is you can see these very hairline scratches that I'm cleaning up. I'm started polishing, and they're on this part of the facet. Let me zoom out. Okay, so as with the case, often with the case with long facets, we have a very long facet here. And so what you'll find as you're polishing particularly long facets or long tables is that one part will polish and the other won't. You need to make a hairline adjustment to your angle. And so for Ultratech, that's called the Index Vernier. It's this part right here. on the Ultratech. This is the Index Vernier is what Ultratech calls it. In gem cutters, we call it the cheater. Okay, so this is a micro adjustment. So we just need to make very, very minute adjustments. So I'm already on the number 30 index tooth, and it's polishing the front part of the facet but not the back part. So I need to make a minor adjustment to my cheater. Now, there's been a lot of discussion throughout the years. There was a movement at one time to not call it the cheater, and other names have been proposed. The index splitter was proposed a few years ago because it splits your index gears, but what the name sticks is cheater, although some people don't like that name. So it's used to make minor adjustments. Now, it's real confusing and real simple. The way you use the cheater is, I've got my facet, and the back part of my facet I need to move so that I'm cutting more of it. So I want to turn my facet in a clockwise position, right? I want to move it a little bit clockwise, a teeny bit clockwise, so that I'm cutting more on the back part of this facet and not on the front part. So to adjust your cheater, whatever direction you need to move the stone, clockwise, is the direction you move the cheater, clockwise. So I'm going to move it to the 0.1, a very minute adjustment. You won't be able to see it with your eye. In fact, my experience, when you get to about the 4 or 5, 0.4 or 0.5, and you look very, very closely, you will be able to see under magnification that you cheated in that facet. But at a 0.1, 0.2, and generally 0.3, you won't see it. So I'm going to move to the 0.1 and see if I can polish out those scratches. Okay, I moved my cheater to 0.2. 0.1 didn't quite take care of it. 0.2 made quick work of those scratches. They're gone. So this facet's polished. So again, that's how you use the cheater. If you want to facet this part of the stone, you need to move it clockwise. This part of the stone counterclockwise, and you simply move your cheater clockwise or counterclockwise. And in this case, I moved the cheater clockwise. So now don't forget, when you're done polishing the facet, to move your cheater back to 0. So the next facet you start off with, you may not have to go into cheating. So again, that's how you use the Index Vernier on the Ultratech or the cheater. All faceting machines, as far as I know, have a cheater of some type. It's just to make very, very minute adjustments. So in this case, I was still on the 30 index tooth, so it's a 30 point, and I don't know if it's 0.01 or 0.1, 30.1, I guess, index tooth. So I guess it's 30.1 or 0.2 is what I was cutting at. So very minor adjustments. Don't be afraid to use the cheater. Most new cutters get very confused over which way to turn it. Again, whichever direction you want to rotate the stone into to cut more of it is the way you rotate the cheater. In my case, I wanted clockwise, so I moved the cheater clockwise. All right, back to polishing. Okay, I finished polishing the pavilion of our Arpa design. I polished it with cerium oxide and spray and the creamway lap, and polish right up. So now I'll transfer the stone, which should be interesting because it's not quite, the point is not quite center, so I'm not sure. I've got to be very careful when I transfer this so that it doesn't fall off the dop. But now I'll transfer it and cut the upper half of our design. Okay, so the best fitting dop is this V-shaped dop. So I will use that. It fits It fits snugly here in the back part, but because of the shape of this this kind of kite-shaped top here, you can see that it's not flush with the stone here or on either side except in the back part. So I'm going to use two-part epoxy because this DevCon kind of sets up like a rock, and I think if I make sure I have enough of it, I think I'll be okay. I'll just have to cut the crown very gently. Kind of an odd shaped stone, so we'll see how it works. Okay, I finished going over our Arpa design with the 12M lap, which is about a 1500 grit diamond. I still have a couple of facets I haven't touched yet. Well, two. There's a small facet here that goes here that's a table. It'll line up with this one, and a table one back here that'll align all these. This facet will match the table and the facet in the back. Pretty cool design. It's coming along nice. I like the way the lines, everything lines up in it. It's really interesting on the crown. So I'll go over it with my 3000 grit diamond on a matte lap, and then decide if I'll go straight to polish from there or pre-polish it a little further. I might pre-polish it with the 13,000 grit diamond on a matte lap, just because these long facets on the pavilion caused me to use the cheater to polish them. So, of course, the better the pre-polish, the less time you spend polishing. So I may do the 3000 grit and then the 14,000 grit, and then polish. Okay, I've got one more tiny facet to polish they call it the table. It's a small part that's going to be right there. So I'll take my stone off the index and set our machine up to cut the table, and then we'll see what this looks like after I cut the table. Okay, I finished polishing the table of our stone. I used the creamway lap and serum oxide spray, serum oxide powder mixed with water. So now I'll take our stone and soak it in acetone to get the two-part epoxy off of the top stick. Then we'll be able to take a look at it, weigh it, and measure it, and send it off to BOPIE. In this video, I cut a large piece of AAA quality amethyst, which I imported directly from the Anahi Mine in Bolivia. I cut the amethyst using one of Marco Voltolini's designs called Arpa. The resulting gemstone has a lot of sparkle, and the kite-shaped design is definitely unique. I enjoyed cutting this design. In my opinion, this design is suitable for any cutter who has already cut at least a handful of gemstones. I would not recommend this as the first cut for a beginning cutter. However, for a beginning level faceter who has cut a few gemstones already, including a round, a square, a rectangle, and probably a trillion, I would recommend this cut. Cutting this Arpa design will probably give the cutter experience in using that feature of gem faceting machines called the cheater, or as some cutters propose to call this feature, the index splitter, or as Ultratech calls the feature, the Index Vernier. I'm not sure what other names, other faceting machines call this feature, but I'll just call it the cheater. It is important for a gem cutter to understand and to be able to use the cheater when they polish gemstones, especially gemstones with long facets like are in this design. Please do give me your thoughts on using the cheater in the comments. I'd be interested to know if there are any experienced faceters who have never used a cheater before. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, happy faceting, everyone.